Back in 2020, a new kind of basement subfloor panel appeared on the market, and I've been getting a steady stream of homeowner questions about it ever since. In this video, I'll recap the 4 most common questions I see and offer insights into the all-foam DRICORE Insul-Armor panels that I've been discussing with people by email. For most situations, Insul-Armor is the best I've seen so far for creating the foundation of a warm, mold-resistant, finished basement floor on concrete. And as I mentioned, Insul-Armor is an all-foam panel. That's what makes it unique. And this single feature leads to the most common question that I get about the product. Is this foam really strong enough to walk on? Yes, Insul-Armor is strong enough when installed properly as part of a hard surface flooring system. It's denser and stronger than most rigid foams on the market, so much so that you don't even need a second layer of plywood on top of the foam, as is required if using regular foam as part of a floor. With Insul-Armor, you can apply a hard surface floor, such as laminate or vinyl, directly on top. And both are excellent options for basements, by the way, regardless of what's underneath of it. Numbers show the higher strength of DRICORE Insul-Armor too, and in the world of rigid foams, density is one measure of firmness and strength. So regular sheets of extruded polystyrene and expanded polystyrene foam, that's the 2 kinds that are most common out there, and you'd find this stuff from building supply outlets. They all have a typical density of 1 pound per cubic foot, and sometimes 2 pounds for heavy-duty foams. Insul-Armor, by contrast, has a density of 3 pounds per cubic foot, and this makes a big difference. The moment you pick up a piece of this stuff, you know it's no ordinary foam. Insul-Armor has a rated compressive strength of 3,650 pounds per square foot. So what does this mean? Well, imagine you cut a 12-inch by 12-inch piece of plywood, you set it on an Insul-Armor panel that's on the floor, then you took a mid-sized car and stood it up on end, resting entirely on this piece of plywood. Even this extreme loading will not crush the foam or leave a dent. And while it's not exactly practical to do this kind of test, seeing is believing. So take a look at the test I ran for exploring just how supportive Insul-Armor is under a lot of weight in the real world. Watch me drive on some Insul-Armor panels in various situations right now with my pickup truck, and let's see what happens. So this is the test setup I've made to actually test the DRICORE Insul-Armor under something like real conditions. I mean, this is far more rigorous than you'd ever encounter in a basement, but I just wanted to explain what's all about here. I've got a piece of 1/4-inch plate steel. I didn't want to put the foam right on the road. It's kind of rough. I didn't think it was too accurate that way, so we got the smooth base. These ramps on and off the steel are hot melt glued in place because it wouldn't really be fair to drive up over the edge. We want to get up before we start on the flooring. This is engineered click flooring right here, of the kind that would be great for a basement, and then this is the Insul-Armor panel underneath. So I'm going to drive over this, and then we're going to take it apart and see what happens. So I really don't know for sure how this is going to turn out. Let's take a look. So far it looks okay. Let's see. Wow, look at that. Absolutely no compression whatsoever. Yeah, that's what I would have expected from the numbers, and it looks like it's worked out that way. Let's try driving over it again without the flooring on, just for fun. Let's see if we can damage this stuff driving directly on the foam. Well, I'm even more impressed with this strength than I was before. I mean, even driving over the bare foam, except for just the, I don't know if you can see that tiniest little compressions here from the tire treads, really very irrelevant. And you're not going to be driving over this stuff bare in your basement anyway, but there's nothing like taking something to the extreme to just show what it's capable of. And as I said, this stuff is hard and strong for sure. Can't I just put regular foam sheets on my concrete basement floor, then finished flooring on top? No, not exactly. The higher density of Insul-Armor means it can support hard surface flooring directly without the help of another layer of plywood. The numbers you've seen now just show how regular sheets of foam have only 1 to 2/3 the density and compressive strength of Insul-Armor. So these regular foams need the help of plywood or OSB on top before the finished flooring goes down. And you can certainly use regular foam sheets in this way as part of your basement subfloor, but you will need to put a second layer of something on top first before the finished flooring goes down. And as I explain to people who inquire about this, Insul-Armor has other unique strengths and benefits too. First, the product has a raised bottom profile, and this creates an airspace, so the product can tolerate small amounts of leaked water that may get into your basement. Without this airspace, even the tiniest basement leaks can rise up and ruin your finished flooring. The presence of an airspace creates a kind of grace zone, if you will, that makes all the difference with small leaks. The same leak without a raised subfloor could mean tearing out and replacing all your finished basement flooring when you might not otherwise have to if you had the airspace on your side. Another advantage is the smaller size of Insul-Armor panels compared with the size of regular foam sheets. Regular sheets of foam are typically 2 feet wide and 8 feet long, and that's pretty big to wrestle into your house. Insul-Armor is half this size, which is just about the limit for convenient carrying downstairs. Is Insul-Armor suitable under all types of flooring? No, it's not. If you have your heart set on carpet in your basement, and I don't recommend it, you'll need to put down a layer of plywood or OSB on top of the Insul-Armor first, followed by underlay and carpet. If you insist on installing carpet in your basement, then you'd be better off using one of the more traditional OSB and plastic subfloor panels, because these don't need additional wood on top. Also, any kind of flooring that needs to be fastened down, as opposed to click, edge-glued, or loose lay flooring, is not convenient for use over Insul-Armor. And to be honest, this isn't the handiest thing to do over any kind of foam insulation, simply because the foam doesn't offer anything strong enough to anchor to. And this is why free-floating options, such as luxury vinyl plank and tile, laminate, and engineered click hardwood, are the best options to use over Insul-Armor, and they just happen to be the best for basements in general too. Is Insul-Armor worth the extra money? Insul-Armor costs 10 to 20% more than the typical OSB panels for a given floor area, and for most situations I think this extra is more than justified because of the advantages of the product. At R4.1, Insul-Armor offers the most insulation value of any commercial basement subfloor panel that I've seen. It's also much lighter in weight than traditional OSB subfloors, and that means easier to carry downstairs, and by a long shot, by the way. Insul-Armor also comes in panel sizes that are twice as large as OSB panels, so you cover ground more quickly during installation. I also know from my own experience that the tongue and groove edges on Insul-Armor come together super easy, with no need to use a mallet, protective edge blocks, or anything like that. Cutting couldn't be easier either with Insul-Armor. It's so dense and rigid, you just score a line with a utility knife and straight edge, then snap the panel over your knee to break it. You can't do that with OSB panels nor regular foam. It's getting easier to finish basements properly, and this comes down to the availability of innovative products that address the unique conditions found when finishing a basement. Do your homework, choose the best products, then enjoy the kind of warm, dry, comfortable, and enduring value of an inviting and properly finished basement space.